Warning, the views and beliefs in the following program does not reflect the views of Boom Broadcasting. We give creative control to our creators and do not believe in cancel culture. Viewer discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first premium live event, Nightcap for Money in the Bank. I am your host, with the most, mouthing off with Mike, and I've got a star-studded panel tonight, folks. I've got top-notch Dyson Bennett in the building. Say what's up to the people, top-notch.
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
I'm doing great. I've got Brandon, the guy, the belt collector himself, one half of championship culture. How you doing tonight, Brandon?
Good evening. All I'm gonna say is everybody has a story.
Every belt has a story, ladies and gentlemen. And last but certainly not least, he made his debut with Mouthing Off with Mike and Boom Broadcasting last night on the SmackDown Nightcap. I had to bring him back. You loved him so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got Kayfabe Keith in the building. What's going on tonight, Keith?
The goose is loose. Let's get into Money in the Bank.
Loose, ladies and
Keith. I love it.
We got Kayfabe Keith, we got Top Notch, and we've got Brandon the Guy, and of course, yours truly, Mouthing Off with Mike. And of course, we got to talk about what we just witnessed in Canada. Oh, Canada, sweet land of opportunity, or whatever their national anthem says. We got a lot to get into, folks. Fellas, before we get into each individual match, what did you think of Money in the Bank? I'll start with the newest faces here. Brandon, we'll start with you.
I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. And I'm gonna say 8 out of 10 because Triple H has set the bar so high for us with these PLEs, especially these. I don't want to call them B level because that sounds like a insult. But if it's not up here, I'm not saying it's like Vince McMahon levels bad. It just wasn't at the I'm gonna go back and rewatch this like immediately. This might be a one I'll watch. Well, let me put something on. I'll watch it again. But I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay, 8 out of 10. Top notch, since we are in the top notch Nightcap tonight. What did you overall think of Money in the Bank?
I'd definitely go 8.5. I felt like there was a couple of things, that I felt was missing from the pay-per-view. We'll get into that, or the PLE, excuse me. But 8.5 is my rating. It was definitely a great paper PLE.
Yeah, they're interchangeable, Dyson. Don't worry. Pay-per-view, PLE,
yeah.
Same thing. Tomato,
I don't
tomato.
work for the company.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have to
keep
correcting myself.
Right, exactly. So whatever you feel better with, go with what the heart says. You know what I mean? Keith, last but certainly not least, before we get into each of these matches, what did you think about Money in the Bank?
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
I was underwhelmed.
Wow.
Overall, underwhelmed.
Okay.
So much could have happened that was so built up that just didn't. So we'll get into it. 7 out of 10.
Well, we're going to get into it, folks. We're going to ease you in. We're head-to-head tonight. When you look at the Nielsen ratings, like everybody likes to do on the internet wrestling community, the ratings tonight for the Nightcap are going to be a little bit lower. I'm going head-to-head against the 16-time world champion, John Cena, who made the announcement tonight, fellas, that this year, going into 2025, he will be on his farewell tour. So we're going to start off with the champ, the 16-time champ, fellas. How are we feeling about this news that John Cena is hanging up the sneakers? We'll start with Brandon again. Well, how do you feel tonight, man?
So I started appreciating John Cena closer to the end of his career. And I'll say you can tell he's starting to come to the end. And I'm glad that now it's not a career-threatening injury. It's not I'm forced to retire. He's going to go out in his own way. And I think that announcing it, if anything tells you about WWE, they're going to keep trying to push these ticket sales. They're going to keep pushing this merchandise. They're going to keep making the money. They've already sold out for 2025 because it's going to be his retirement tour. And they announced it now. So people are probably starting to say, I need to buy my Rumble ticket. If not, book my hotel for where the Rumble is. Book it with, because he said his last Elimination Chamber, his last Mania, they probably just sold extra tickets because people know it's there. It's his last. So I think it was very smart on a business aspect, but I think it's great that he gets to go out on his own accord, and he's probably writing his own story how he wants it to end. Because we know what happened, like some of the greats like Kurt Angle, how he had to go out on that notion. But now we get to see like a whole retirement tour. So, but I got another feeling about that too, but I don't want to take up too much time.
I respect it. I respect it.
Mhm.
Top notch. How do you feel about John Cena hanging it up this year? And when comments are rolling in here, Rock Renegade, this will help sell a WrestleMania on an Easter weekend. I mean, absolutely. I think so. Dyson, what did you think?
Bittersweet. He's been talking for a little bit now about this is potentially going to be his last run or will be his last run. He's getting older and things like this, but it's going to suck not being able to see Cena compete. We'll see him around, I think, but to not see him compete, for him to hang up the jorts, and the sneakers in terms of in-ring competition, it's going to be bittersweet for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. Bittersweet, hanging up the jorts. It's going to be a sad day. Keith, how do we feel about the John Cena farewell tour?
I do want to say, Mr. Bennett, you took the words that I was about to say, him hanging up the jorts. We said 2020 was the saddest year, but I think 2025 is going to beat that with the retirement of John Cena. It's going to be interesting. And, I'm just excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see who his last match is. We're getting a very Sting-like farewell tour.
See, I was going to say it. I'm glad
Sting set the precedence with that, and I love it. Let's get this. Let's get this for all these big names. Instead of having just that retirement match, go on a farewell tour. It's okay. You earned it.
I like it.
Yeah, I agree.
And Brandon, Keith, I like that shout. It is basically the Sting farewell tour, and it's very smart business. So, like Brandon said, you're going to be able to pull in a boatload more money now that people know that this is it for John Cena. I know myself, I'm keeping an eye out on the WrestleMania on sale ticket dates. I'm keeping an eye on when all these tickets go on sale, when WWE's in my neck of the woods now, because I don't want to miss the GOAT. He's part of our childhoods. So it is bittersweet. That's the perfect word for it. I'm intrigued. I know I posed this question to Keith, fellas. I'm going to pose it to you and all of the viewers here. You think we could finesse a trade with old Tony Khan at AEW? We trade him Seth Rollins for a night. He trades us back Edge for a night, so we can get one more Cena Edge match. Think it's a possibility, or am I hitting the old peace pipe a little bit too hard? I'll let whoever wants to start this one off.
Hell would have to freeze over for that to happen.
Damn, right through the heart. No minced words said. Shooting your dreams down.
I'm not against it. I would love for that to happen, but hell would have to freeze over for Tony Khan and Triple H to make that deal, in my opinion. I would love to see an Edge versus John Cena match, though. That would be perfect. A cherry on top, or one of many cherries, I would say.
Any other thoughts here on the hypothetical trade? Am I delusional? Brandon, you perked up right away. I'm delusional. He's shaking his head.
Because it's crazy because, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm probably gonna get heat for this. Do we need that? The way WWE is right now, do we need And I credit Triple H for taking something that he's seen in the past, and WWE has this thing of letting everybody else do something, and then they do it better. They let them figure out the kinks. So we got to see the Sting retirement tour. Now we're about to see the John Cena tour done probably on a mega scale, right? I don't think that we would need Edge because he's got a whole Randy Orton right here. He's got a endless list of possibilities. You got a whole Roman Reigns right there. You got Seth Rollins. You got anybody else that you can make these video packages with, a CM Punk. How many times are we going to see that probably play in his retirement package? And one thing that we're missing, what happens in between all these PLE events? Raw and SmackDown. And in January, we'll be on different networks. So who better for a rating pop?
You're
It's
not
my
wrong.
last SmackDown in this place, my last Raw in this place, my last this on that. We're gonna see that a lot, and he's probably gonna have retro T-shirts, all this stuff. We're gonna have a lot of razzle dazzle to distract us that we don't even have Edge, who probably
All
is
right.
one of his greatest rivalries. We'll probably get distracted that we won't even realize we missed him.
Damn, Brandon throwing down the gauntlet. I mean, I have to agree with him. Maybe it's at that point where there is so much talent in WWE. CM Punk's another name, out there. Get another CM Punk John Cena match. It'll be very interesting to see here. Derek, welcome in tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Derek will actually be on the Heatwave edition of the Nightcap tomorrow. He's going with an 8 out of 10. If that unnecessary botch didn't happen, it would have been a little higher than that. A solid, great show. We did see a couple botches. Sean gave it an 8. He enjoyed the Bloodline Cody RKO match. And Jacob Batu was awesome as advertised. So let's get into it, fellas. Money in the Bank ladder match, men's ladder match. We all were pretty much, I think Jey Uso was the clear-cut favorite with fans. I'm not sure exactly, where you guys were at overall, but Drew McIntyre wins Money in the Bank. And honestly, shocked me. What did you guys think about this men's ladder match? We'll start with Dyson.
I agree with you. Totally shocked. I completely expected the CM Punk interference early to cost Drew the Money in the Bank, and I thought maybe LA Knight would take it or Jay. They were both the favorites, like the odds-on favorites to win. So I was really looking at both of them, like maybe they'll give it to this one, to either one of them. I didn't think Chad was going to get it. I felt like if he was going to get close, that the Wyatt Six would take that from him and sweep the rug from under his legs. So I was actually surprised that they went with Drew, and surprised, we'll get into it later with what they did later on.
Okay. I'm in the same boat, man. I was shocked. Brandon, thoughts? Right or wrong winner?
Right winner for Monday Night Raw, wrong winner because of who was in the match. And I'm going to say that because Monday Night Raw needed this extra storyline. Like, I was initially mad that he won. I'll just say that. I was like, why would you waste it? And especially after what we got later on. I was like, so now we got to fail cash in just to further this story. But we got to further that story because we don't have Cody on Raw. So they got to have as much chaos. But if you're going to give me that much chaos, give me the chaos in the match too. I would have loved to see a Y6 interfere to take oh my god, why am I drawing a blank? Chad Gable out. I would have loved to see take LA Knight out so that way we know we get in that match at SummerSlam. I would have loved to see CM Punk take him out earlier on and then left a Jey Uso there by himself to climb the ladder. And I said it on the flagship show of the Wrestling Realm, and then have Jimmy come help him win this time. I mean, if you're gonna go all in, go all in. That would have been some extra confusion on Raw. Like, oh, Jimmy actually helped Jay this time. That could have been a big story going into SummerSlam, or been the hovering around. Is he going to cash in or isn't? Plus, I think we missed out on some merchandise being able to be a blue Money in the Bank briefcase. He came out with new gear, everything. All the signs pointed that Jay was winning, but here we are, failed cash in to further story.
And they had the crowd wear white. So in my mind, I was like, oh, white out. Jey Uso, his gear is white. Like, I'm thinking that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Jey Uso, Heat in the Bank. So listen, fellas, lack of Wyatt Six shocked me. Lack of CM Punk in this match shocked me. Lack of Logan Paul in this match shocked me. You got all these stories going on outside of this match, and you really call up any of them. You use that as a device for a storyline, which was executed well. Keith was very passionate coming into the Nightcap tonight about this, that he felt underwhelmed about this. You feel like they missed it? They missed the mark here on this match, everybody?
And think about this. Let me add this, Michael. Andrade and Carmelo have something brewing. That could be something we see on Speed and on SmackDown. We could see this go for the next couple months. So they could have been fine taking each other out with a big spot, but it just felt like, and I hate to say, I feel like the Money in the Bank needs to be lingering around because it adds some excitement. Like, oh, by the way, we still got that, but then this is going to start the speculation train up. But Jay got to go back to the bloodline. Leave Jay alone. He's fine. He's okay over there. Let him be.
I agree. Keith, so you feel that they missed the mark. What if you were to, kind of sit here and say, like, out of those kind of screw job antics that we may have seen in this ladder match, where would you have wanted to see it? Would you have wanted to see Punk screw Drew? Would you have wanted to see the Wyatt Six get involved? Or would you have wanted to see Logan Paul? If you only had the choice of one, with that ladder match.
I would have rathered something with the Wyatt Six, because we're playing into the story that they killed Chad Gable. What?
Right. No, he's right.
So he can just wrestle a match with no problem? I mean, okay, yeah, he was dangling a little bit, but that's not a Wyatt Six thing. Why are you going to build up this amazing group like the Wyatt Six and then not use them at their first PLE? That makes zero sense to me, and it kind of hurts their credibility. You have so many fans saying, "Oh, put them in something," and then you leave them out of a PLE. What made that decision? I don't understand.
Interesting, Keith. I mean, I don't disagree.
That's my driving force.
Top notch is my resident expert when it comes to all things Wyatt Six. Top notch missed the mark here tonight. What do you think?
100%. I completely agree with Keith. They should have utilized the Wyatt Six in some way, shape, or form when it came to Chad Gable. I agree with Keith when he said, like, why build something up so prominently with Chad, to where they stalked him on Raw, the whole thing that they did, and then not, do anything to interfere or to, kind of spook him out of his win at Money in the Bank tonight. I thought it was definitely a missed mark. They should have used them in some way just to get them on the PLE for their first PLE, get those eyes on them. And, Mike, you and I were talking about this when we were doing the Howdy breakdowns. This was actually the arena that The Fiend made his debut. So the fact that they didn't utilize... No, SummerSlam.
SummerSlam. That's right. I'm sorry.
Against Finn.
So 2019. So the fact that they didn't utilize them in some way in the very same arena that, the essential true leader of this group, the inspiration for this group, where he made one of his many characters debuts, I thought it was a huge missed mark. Severely missing the Wyatt Six tonight.
I totally forgot about, the Fiend debuting in 2019 in the same arena. So yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah. Very shocked. I'm assuming Monday Night Raw will see a big angle. I just didn't think, after the, these promos and these therapy sessions with Bo and Howdy the last 2 weeks, I didn't think that he would let Chad Gable even get any sort of opportunity at something this big. But, things happen all the time. And, this match left me wanting more. But the women's Money in the Bank, definitely delivered. Booking like a mark, knew Drew would win and prayed for it. Derek's in your corner, Brandon. He wants to see Andrade and Mello feud. He's here for it. I don't disagree with you, man. That'd be a banger of a series. Drew did not need to win this to add to his storyline. Punk does not have the effect that we got at Clash of the Castle. Interesting, Sean. Very interesting. I think it was done well, but it's tough. We'll get into it. Braun Breaker took on Sami Zayn. Fellas, did this match shock you at all? Did you think Braun Breaker was leaving Toronto with the Intercontinental Championship, or did you think Sami was retaining all along? Brandon shaking his head. Dyson shaking his head. Yes. So these two guys are on opposite sides here. So I'll start with Brandon, who immediately shook his head. You knew Sami Zayn was winning in Canada the whole time? Shakes his head. That's it. All right. He knew it was all along. Dyson,
I'll let him go first.
You said you were shocked by this. You felt Braun was going to win. Why?
Man, look at the push they're giving this dude. I mean, could some argue that it'd be a little too early for him to get the Intercontinental title, at this point in his career? Yeah, you could make that argument. But, like, the dude is unstoppable. The crowd is behind him. I didn't see why not make the decision to put the title on him. He said it in his promo. Sami Zayn doesn't need that title. And I felt every bit of those words when he said that in his promo. That Sami Zayn doesn't need that title. You beat Gunther, cool. Now pass it on to somebody that's gonna, be able to run with it and not let the title make their career, but be able to, elevate themselves, with that title. And I think Braun is definitely the person to take that title from Sammy. A little upset they didn't do it tonight, but hopefully they do it in the future.
All right. Okay. Keith, what do you think about this? Derek said Braun had that match won. They had to give it to Sammy because of the home field advantage aspect. Yeah, I would say home field came into play here for sure. What do you think, Keith?
Now, I am a huge Sami Zayn fan. Ska's not dead. Putting that out there. Big Sami Zayn guy. Did not want him to lose. Wanted him to win, but I didn't think he was going to. You and I discussed it. They want to book Braun as a heel. What better way to get the hate? You said that the best. What better way to get the hate than have Sammy lose in Toronto?
That's what I'm saying. My man's quoting me now. That's our relationship, folks. That's what happens when you sit in the same room and you watch the Premium Live event together. Just kind of, you have this discussion a little beforehand. Yeah, man, I really thought Braun would beat Sammy just for that heat alone in his own country. But time will tell. I think there's something bigger on the horizon for Sammy when it comes to this Intercontinental Championship. I also think, you got to look at some guys like Sheamus, Ilya Dragunov as some potentials as well to take that title off of him. Specifically Braun after tonight, but you got to keep an eye on that division. It's heating up. Folks, we had a World Heavyweight Championship match that went sideways. That's the best way I can tell you. Seth Rollins, Damian Priest turned into a triple threat because Drew McIntyre, who won the Money in the Bank, decided to cash in. And as we all were expecting it, CM Punk cost Drew this championship match, but not just Drew McIntyre this match. Seth Rollins can no longer challenge Priest for the world title tonight. Folks, this is a big topic. Brandon, I'll start with you. What happened tonight during this match?
It got to further a storyline, but I hate to say it. I hope Gunther doesn't take a backseat to this storyline because Triple H has done a good job since the World Heavyweight title has been introduced in making us feel like people are credible threats. Like, if you look at it, in one episode of Raw, we felt like Shinsuke was the top guy to take the belt off of him. Every time you turn around, it kept being somebody else. So now you got Damian Priest at the top. And you got all these people that's in roundabout ways are still threatening for his title. We still got Finn Balor looming in the background. We got, different things can happen. You can always insert a Sheamus if you need to, but I think he's destined for the Intercontinental title come SummerSlam. But in this match, I feel like, I hate the term overbooked because we know when something is overbooked, but I feel like this was just going to further, I got to play it safe in case somebody get injured before SummerSlam. Because all of these people have lingering injuries or may not be 100% healthy. So at any time, I can shift the story. And I feel like the Money in the Bank briefcase became just a prop for it and not what it should have done to elevate or reestablish a star. And in this match, it kind of felt like, okay, yeah, CM Punk attacked him. And then the announcers had to say, oh, yeah, there's no disqualification in a triple threat match. I always like how they throw that out there because they just let CM Punk do whatever he want. But if you didn't notice, CM Punk was holding that world title around his waist. Did y'all notice that when he was sitting there?
Oh, he liked it. He was sitting there with that.
Yeah, he wanted to pass it up. And Damian looked frustrated. But, sir, you got to pay attention to Gunther. You can't worry about them three men. But even though he want to get back at Punk, everybody's going to be gunning for Punk. I hope they don't do something where Gunther becomes the fourth man in a fatal four-way or something. I hope not.
I don't know.
Because do you want to see
they,
Gunther and Damian Priest?
I do. Hell yeah. I want to see that match. You don't want to see that match?
Absolutely.
You know what I would rather see? All right, well, let me ask you, would you rather see Gunther versus Seth Rollins? Would you rather see Gunther versus Drew again?
I mean, all of these matches are really good, though. I can't even front on that. Like, if I were to pick, to be honest, if I had to pick between the three of them, I would probably want to see Seth and Gunther go at it. We've seen Drew go with Gunther a few times. We've never seen Priest and Gunther go at it, so those two matches, I wouldn't be mad at it. So, but if I had to pick, I'll give you this. You win this round. The belt collector, you win. You win. You can collect this W for me tonight. I would have liked to seen Seth if I had a pick. Dyson, what did you think about this? Are you in accordance here with Brandon? What are your thoughts in general? Did we waste the briefcase? Did we need to do this?
Well, first off, I think a congratulations is in order because we actually technically have a new world champion. If you guys,
He's gonna call it out. So top
I'm
notch.
calling it out
Take
right
us through
now.
call it out.
We,
Tell the people what
I
happened
think the
tonight.
timing. I think the timing on Drew's entrance music was off. If I'm being completely honest, because Damien clearly did not kick out, and the ref clearly stopped his count, which is a big no in all of professional wrestling. But yeah, aside though, on a serious note, I definitely thought it was a wasted opportunity with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Like I was just like, why in that way? Why Punk could have, attacked Drew beforehand, you know what I'm saying, before he actually got to cash in. Kind of like what they were doing to Austin Theory for the longest time before he finally cashed in on for the US title. I didn't think that they should have just kind of throw the Money in the Bank, briefcase away tonight the way they did. I mean, we do have Tiffany Stratton with the women's. We will get into that, but it's just like now what for the world title? Yeah, we have Gunther locked in, but we don't really have that excitement of, but we have this person looming. Kind of how we did with Damian Priest. We had all these matches that Seth was having for the world title, and every single time it was that third element of, whoa, like Damian could come in and cash in at any time. We don't have that bit of suspense to kind of hold on to. So I get it. They had to push the storyline forward. It is what it is, but I would have much rather them save the briefcase, for a more important opportunity, I'd say.
Sure, opportunity.
Yeah,
I see your point. Keith, what are your thoughts on this? And we'll head on here to the next match, which is the women's Money in the Bank ladder match.
Yeah, I think having him cash in now was a terrible decision. Because he knew CM Punk was healthy or about to be healthy. So why not hold on to it? Do what you got to do with CM Punk a little bit. Maybe hurt him a little bit again and then cash it in. Take him out and then cash it in. I just think the timing was off. I get it. We got to push the story, but now we're going to forget the Money in the Bank is even a thing until next year when we're like, oh yeah, that pay-per-view is coming up. Sorry, PLE is coming up.
Okay. All right. Listen, fellas, I'll be honest. I'm not a fan of wasting the briefcase. I think you could have used that 100% for a Jey Uso, for Chad Gable. If you're not going to have the Wyatt 6 mess with him in that match. I will say they did execute it perfectly. CM Punk just destroyed Drew with the chair, choked him a little bit. He just choked the guy a little bit. You know what I mean? If you catch that reference, you catch that reference. I enjoyed this. CM Punk, speaking of CM Punk is on the Money in the Bank press conference right now, and he has pastries with him. He answered the question of, where is AJ Lee? And he gave the classic response of AJ Lee is home taking care of Larry. I love to see it, folks. I think CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre have a chance to be something special, because now at this point, fellas, depending on what they're going to do with that whole Priest didn't kick out thing, Priest skipped out of town. He retained the title. Seth and Drew both were screwed by Punk. Seth already doesn't like Punk. Drew doesn't like Punk. Punk doesn't like Drew. Punk doesn't like Seth. So for me, the only logical solution, fellas, is get the Hater Fest triple threat party ready at SummerSlam, because I think you throw these three in a match, you just let them beat the living shit out of one another. And that is what the women did in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. They beat the living shit out of one another, folks. I visibly cringed a few times during this match. I thought Zoe Starks knocked herself out. I thought Naomi knocked herself out. I thought Chelsea Green was incredible. Tiffany had an incredible showing. Shout out to Miss Money in the Bank. Tiffy time. It's officially time, fellas. Did you set your watch for Tiffy standard time? Listen, big flowers to Naomi. She looked like $1 million in this match, fellas. That split-legged DDT with the 2 ladders. Like, what are you kidding me? What are your initial thoughts? Because I'm going to pose the question, was this the best women's Money in the Bank ladder match we have seen? Keith's shaking his head. Yes, I'm going to go to Keith first.
I loved it. I loved the action that was in it. This was my favorite match of the night. I think we were able to see a little bit of everything from everyone, not just focusing on just one of the women's wrestlers that we have. Everybody got their own spot. It was beautiful. Chelsea Green, she is conquering her fear of heights. Life is great. She just needs to get a title now.
Agreed.
I'm okay with Tiffany winning. I would have rather Chelsea. That's just me.
I agree, brother. Let's see. Top Notch, what are your thoughts? How'd you like this match? What standout moments? Anything?
I couldn't agree with Keith more. This was actually my favorite match of the night as well. The women just absolutely killed it. They just absolutely killed it. I was so blown away by everything they did. I felt like they even did some of the spots that the men did better than the men. Like the ladder bridge spot with where you bridge the ladder into the ropes and stuff. Like I thought the stuff that Zoe Stark did was really good. You mentioned Naomi. Naomi was phenomenal, but I think the MVP of that match was hands down Chelsea Green. I mean,
oh, absolutely.
I watch a lot of wrestling interviews and stuff and just hear, what people say. And something that people always say about Chelsea Green is that she maximizes her minutes on screen. And that was exactly what she did in every single second that she was on our screen, in this match. And I thought her bump through the double tables was perfect. I don't think that could have went any better. It was like a perfect landing, perfect table break right at the end. Congrats to my girl Tiffy, Tiffy Stratton. It's Tiffy time for sure. She's now Miss Tiffy in the Bank, so I'm excited to see what she does with that briefcase. This was definitely match of the night.
Match of the night. I would have to agree, fellas. Match of the night for me as well. Bloodline tag match, close second. Brandon, the guy. I didn't forget about you over there. You're looking off. He's getting lost in those belts, folks. If you're watching, you see those belts behind him. You just get lost. You're just mesmerized. Look at that gold. Just I'm hypnotized. Brandon, what did you think here about the women's Money in the Bank ladder match?
Who's ever been doing the women's ladder match recently has been doing a really good job. If you look at the NXT North American title match, they're giving them the right spots at the right moment. And they're not like spots that you really can, I hate the word botch, but like even when Chelsea did the Unprettier and she just jumped off the side, I was like, that was still okay. She protected herself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even like when Zoe took that bump and she flipped right off, I said, oh, is she okay? It was like, it made you second guess, like, dang, that was pretty cool, but is she okay? Like, it was like every spot was like, oh yeah, she's okay. She's okay. And to have, if you really think about the amount of talent or tenure in that ring, how is Naomi and Chelsea? Well, probably, the veterans. And when we really call them the veterans when you have a bunch of newer faces that 2 years ago, nobody knew who Tiffany Stratton was. 2 years ago, did we know who Zoe Starks was? Zoe Starks and EO were tag team champions at one time. You get what I'm saying? So people seem to forget those type of things, but look how far these women have come. That's why I appreciate the match. My heart wanted Chelsea to win, but my mind knew Tiffany was going to win. Like, as much as we all was rooting for Chelsea a little bit inside, but we said, this has Tiffany written all over. And I hate to say it, I think that she's going to cash in at SummerSlam when she's fighting. Oh, I hate to say it. Think about the match at SummerSlam and who she's been buddy with. She's been too buddy with Nia. She could take advantage of an opportunity and cash it in and get the title then. Or this is a way to get her on Raw with her boyfriend.
Interesting. That's a hot take.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm glad she won it, and she's been doing everything she's supposed to. But that match was probably, and it's always seemed like whoever goes second in these ladder matches try to outdo the first one, and they definitely outdid the first one.
Yeah. I think the women's ladder match topped the men's tonight by far. Nailed it. In my personal opinion, I think it's one of the best. It's up there for sure. It may be top two. The OG, the first one was funny, with James Ellsworth Warren, but then the follow up when they had our course correct with the
rematch.
SmackDown one, yeah. But still to this day, after tonight,
I like the one with Bailey.
Rewatch it.
Bailey
winning was a good one.
Because we had a feel good moment, and it was a lot of good spots in there, but it wasn't spots like this. There's some new level stuff that they're doing. So
I gotta say, last year's was good too with the finish with the Io handcuffing Bailey and Becky together to win. It was very clever. So it's up there. This one tonight, I enjoyed it. I will say though, I was pulling for Chelsea Green. My agenda did not. I think we all wanted Chelsea in our core. But unfortunately, her time is not now yet. But Tiffany time is now. Folks, you already know what's coming. That Barbie-themed briefcase
I can't wait for a pink briefcase.
Is on the horizon. Get ready for that WWE shop link, Brandon. I know you're going to have to add it to the collection.
But you know what's crazy? And I'm going to say this about it. As much as we talk about people don't need the title, Chelsea didn't need the briefcase we wanted her to have because we still going to see Chelsea on screen without the briefcase. She's been a constant woman in the women's division since she's been back. We always see Chelsea.
He's not wrong. And Dyson said it. She maximizes her minutes of airtime that she gets. She's a prime example of if she's got 2 minutes, she's got you for 2 minutes.
You're gonna remember what she did, and then she's gonna follow it up on social media.
She's one of the best follows on social media. Seriously, out of the wrestling community, folks. We got a main event here. The Bloodline. And not my tribal chief. Hashtag not my tribal chief. Let's get that one trending for your boy here. Solo Sikoa, I do not claim him as my tribal chief. I will never acknowledge the weekday, as my good brother Kicking It with Leo called him on the prediction show. The weekday is not being acknowledged on the Nightcap, but I will acknowledge the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu, because my goodness, that's a scary man. The Bloodline beat the team of Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. And shout out to our man, Kevin Owens. Thoughts and prayers to the Owens family during this time. Solo Sikoa pinned Cody Rhodes. Right decision, wrong decision. Keith.
Right decision.
Okay. Top notch. Right decision, wrong decision.
Right decision.
Brandon, the guy?
Right decision.
I'm going to tell you it was the right decision, folks, because we all know what's coming. SummerSlam, Cleveland, Ohio. It's taking some time getting to say that one. Sorry to my Ohioans. I just don't think SummerSlam and immediately go Cleveland. But hey, they're going to cook. I know Triple H is going to cook for us. Yeah, SummerSlam, Cody Rhodes, Solo Sikoa. Interest levels? Are we hyped for this? Are we meh? Brandon's meh. Dyson, are you hype? Are you kind of let's see how the build builds?
I'm let's see how the build builds. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Keith.
Let's see how the build builds. I thought it was the right decision to have them win this match because it's their first actual match together as the new Bloodline. But I don't see Solo taking the belt off of Cody.
Absolutely not. Solo Sikoa he's not winning that championship. There's no chance in hell. Cody Rhodes has plot armor for at least, I would say, maybe a year. It was definitely the right decision. The Bloodline Civil War is going to be epic. I agree, Derek. I have a feeling that Bad Blood pay-per-view announcement, premium live event announcement. See, now you guys got me doing it. You see what you guys do? You influenced me, and now I'm saying pay-per-view instead of PLE. See, there goes my sponsorship if I ever needed one. Listen, fellas, I want to thank you guys for joining me here on the Money in the Bank Nightcap. I know it's late on the East Coast for the two of you. Any final remarks here about Money in the Bank? I'll let Brandon go first.
Yeah, I'm going to say this about it. I think, and I said it on Wrestling Around Now podcast that the Bloodline needed to win because we still need to establish who they are. We still need to establish that they are a credible threat. We as wrestling fans know what Jacob Fatu has done and can do,
Mm.
and they kept trying to put him over in the commentary. As somebody just watching this match, it wasn't enough to make him a credible threat. I feel like they watered him down because of that whole thought of him outshining everybody. Because let's call it what it is. He probably would. If you really turned him loose and said, go do a wrestle, it's probably gonna be like, well, where's this guy been? Why haven't we been seeing him on our screen? So they gotta slowly give us what we know. So I think that this was the right decision to have him go over. I don't know if Solo should have picked Cody because, pinning your champion, all right, I get it, making a statement. Cody doesn't lose anything in defeat, but I don't think Solo really gained anything in a win outside of just being able to say, I'm fighting him at SummerSlam. So overall, I think that this is going to be an interesting few weeks that we're going to see because we got 3 weeks before SummerSlam.
3 weeks.
3
We're right
weeks.
there.
Yeah. So we got 3 Fridays and a whole bunch of social media stuff. So they're about to do something major for us. And it's still, you notice the crowd saying, we want Roman and blank, blank, you Solo. So I don't think we see him at SummerSlam. And I think this bad blood, everybody keeps saying for the bloodline, I think it's going to be something different because look at what's going on Raw. I think that's going to be very centered around that. We're going to see a Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. We're going to see a Finn Balor and Damian Priest. We're going to see I think that's what Bad Blood. I think he's throwing it out there to get people buzzing. And I think we're going to see. And Atlanta is Cody's home state, right?
You're not wrong.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. So, and I think that we're going to see. That's when we're going to finally see CM Punk and Seth. Because that bad blood has been brewing. That might be the main event of the night. I mean, that's just my take on it. So he's very strategic what he's doing. And I don't know if y'all paid attention to what he said on the documentary, because it's not a spoiler by now. It's been out. Everybody should watch it.
I still haven't watched it, honestly. I still haven't even watched it, but please go ahead. I want to hear this.
No. Triple H made one comment, and I don't know if he said it before. He said, I look at booking like a GPS. We know the destination, but how do we get there? So he's now that he said that, I get why he's doing things, because that's why I said when you said about Sammy not winning, I mean with Sammy winning, they have a destination for Sammy. We just got to get there, and Sammy should not have been the Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania. It should have been, yep. But I think Bad Blood is going to give us exactly what that is. It's going to be all these blood feuds that we have been seeing brewing. It's going to come to a head. You can't come to a head at SummerSlam. That's got to be the biggest party. So now Bad Blood is the follow-up to it.
I like it, Brandon. And honestly, you might be onto something there. Bad blood. I mean, bad blood between two people. And you even mentioned it. You had a hot take, and I want to call back to this, and I kind of want to piggyback. You said, what if Tiffany cashes in and goes to Raw? There's a device there waiting and ready to happen with Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley could come back at SummerSlam, beat her ass all across Cleveland, and Tiffany takes advantage. So Brandon, the guy, make sure you follow him, Championship Culture, the wrestling realm, because he's cooking top notch. Final words here about Money in the Bank. We're going to go to Keith, and then we're going to wrap it up with me.
I thought Money in the Bank was great tonight. Again, they left us wanting some certain things, but it is what it is. I felt like overall they delivered. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I was expecting a Hikuleo appearance, I'm not going to lie, at the end of that Bloodline match, because I did see a report, I don't know how true it is, that he is like officially on the WWE roster. So I was hoping that we would get some kind of another Bloodline interference, but I think the 4 members that we have of the Bloodline is who we have for that Bloodline 2.0, and some of these other members are going to probably be in the OG Bloodline, like to fill in a space. Like I think Hikuleo will fill in Sammy's space personally. But that's neither here nor there. That's a theory. As far as tonight,
I like that.
As far as tonight, I thought it was good. I have no complaints except that I missed the Wyatt 6. I wanted
valid. Keith, final remarks here.
I think honestly they need to not rush the Cody solo story, but don't drag it out because we still need that story with Roman. They need to keep building it. Like I said last night, he made a declaration of war. Are we just going to ignore that?
Facts.
We don't
He's
know.
cooking, folks.
But Money in the Bank, while I gave it a 7 out of 10, I enjoyed the entire show. Just wanted a lot more. That's all right. It's all good. Thank you again for having
We're
me.
needy wrestling fans here on the Nightcap.
Thank you.
But I agree. I wanted the Wyatt 6. I think that was probably where I was at the most with that match. I wanted to see the Wyatt 6. And some final comments here flowing in. The match was booked to produce perfect. Jacob looks great. The Whisper in the Wind was sick. Yeah, he nailed that, dude. He looked like
in one breath.
Tama looked good, and Solo needed to make the pin. Yeah, I agreed. And Derek said, well said to Sean. Yeah, Sean is awesome. You saw Sean on the Nightcap earlier this week. Folks, I enjoyed Money in the Bank. Like you heard the panel say multiple times, Wyatt 6 would have been nice to see. We had some right winners. We had some wrong winners. We had some CM Punk. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Drew McIntyre might actually take that sword that The Rock gave him when he re-signed. He may, in fact, stab someone on Monday Night Raw with that sword. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you wear your chainmail armor if you're going to Raw, because not only do you have to worry about the Wyatt 6, you got to worry about a loose cannon Drew McIntyre on Raw Monday, and we'll talk all about it on the Nightcap on Monday Night Raw. And I'll be back tomorrow with the Nightcap after Heatwave. Make sure you follow Brandon, the guy, the belt collector himself. Make sure you follow Top Notch Dyson Bennett. And make sure you follow Gustavo. All of their socials are scrolling the screen. We're out of here. I want to thank this amazing panel tonight. Thank you guys so much for staying up late tonight with me on the Nightcap. And I want to thank you all for watching the Nightcap here on Boom Broadcasting.
Oh, no, it didn't work. It didn't work. I stream you just get the fireworks.
Right, you get the fireworks or the balloons. We're out of here, folks. Have a good night.